Good afternoon. This is Debbie Broughton, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from St. Robert, Missouri. I was trying to go live on Facebook. I am live on Facebook right now. I meant live on YouTube, but I couldn't get the video to start. It kept saying I had it scheduled at 9:59 a.m. on 5/7, but it was already 1 o'clock at my house, so I'm switching over to my Facebook Live, and I have to get my phone so that it's not showing crooked. So I think this looks pretty good. I can maybe move down my glass mat just a little bit so we can see the whole top. If you're watching me and you finally found me and I'm finally working, if you could comment, that would be great. I am here with day 3 of the Fun Fold cards that I'm showing, and this one is really fun. This is a spinner card and a pop-up card. So I know I've made the pop-up card before, and I did it for Easter. I did it another time with the Storybook Friends paper, but this one might be just a little bit bigger than those. And we've added the spinner underneath our Band-Aid here so that it spins. I think this will just be fun especially for a young person. We have a young person at church that recently broke his arm, so I plan to put this in the mail to him this afternoon. I will let you know how the spinner makes it through the mail after I see him later to see if it made it. Because I'm not sure if when I go I'll have to pay more, but I'll also let you know about that. Okay, so let's get started. This one I made in Balmy Blue. This one here I'm going to make in the new Hydrangea Hue color. So this is our card base. And I have all the directions here. Let me put them out here so you can take a screenshot. This has a lot of different pieces, but it goes together pretty quickly. So you have your cardstock colors, your basic white, and then a basic white for the mechanism that makes it pop out. Some scraps for the big Band-Aid and the hearts, and petal pink for the small Band-Aids. So I'll leave this on here just for a few more seconds. And if you're watching, if you could comment, that would be great. Sometimes my comments aren't showing up on here. I know that I'm going to try a Facebook Live again later, maybe just to say, not to demonstrate a card or anything, but just to see if I could get one to work. So this is our card base. It is measured 4 3/4 by 7 1/2. And at first we're going to score it on the long side at 3 1/4. So right here is my 3 1/4 line. Then we're going to turn it this way, and we're going to score 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch on each side. And you will see why we're going to do this. Kind of makes up the mechanism, this part of the mechanism. So we're going to get our paper snips here, and we're going to cut on the long side. There's a long side and a short side. On this long side, we're going to cut just inside this fold line so that when we fold it all up, it will look smooth. So sometimes it's hard to see the score line. I should have scored it a couple of times maybe when I was scoring. But I'm just going to cut all the way up to the next score line. And I'm going to kind of like angle this one, because that makes a tab easier to fold in without being bulky if you kind of, you know, angle it a little. Then we're going to do this side. This side's really hard to see. Maybe I'd have to hold it over here more in the light. So here we go. And I'm going to angle cut it again. And I'm also going to angle cut the top of it right here just a little. Okay, so now we have this piece ready. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to stamp our ouch on the outside of this. So the ouch goes on the smaller part. So let me get my stamp pad opened here. I guess maybe, well, that was not good. I laid the stamp pad down instead of the lid. You have to get used to these new stamp pads. Let me just clean that up so that I don't end up getting hydrangea hue anywhere. I have these little alcohol pads that I use to clean my glass mat. They work pretty good. Okay. And I have my ouch already on a block here. And I'm just going to randomly stamp it on the front here. You don't have any, you don't really want to make a pattern or anything, although sometimes it's hard for me to stamp random. They always end up to be looking like it is a pattern. Perhaps today is not my day to do a live, since I'm dropping my block and messing this up pretty well. Okay, I'm good to switch it and fold it. It's going to fold like this, because really I just messed that up a lot. So we'll try again. Now, if you wanted these to be lighter, you could always do second generation by stamping on scrap paper and then stamping on here, and they would be lighter. But I kind of like them to show. Stamp some off. Okay, I think that's good. So the next thing I do is I'm going to take my mechanism here, and we're going to make the mechanism that goes inside of it. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to find my 2 1/8 by 2 1/8 square here. Well, I thought I was. Yes, we're definitely going to say today is not a day I should be doing lives, because I did this one and I accidentally cut it instead of scored, and then I made a new one, but I must have thrown my good one away and kept the bad one. So let me just get a piece of white and we'll do it together. It's going to be 2 1/8 by 2 1/8 square. And we're going to score it at 1/2 inch on each side. 1/2 inch that way. 1/2 inch this way. And now I'm going to get out my scoreboard, because because that way for sure I will not accidentally cut it. It takes up so much room on here though. So we're going to lay it up here in this corner, and we're going to go every 1/8 of an inch. This just takes a little bit. Because I want to be sure that I'm getting each one pretty deep so that it will fold nicely. Almost there. One more. Okay. So now we don't have to fold each one of these little 1/8 spaces. We're going to use our bone folder. Let me get this put away. It's so big and bulky, I don't want it getting in our way. So we're going to take our bone folder, and we want to take it like this and get this so it curls. That will make it to pop up. I can't show it to you on that card because it's already made, but it goes inside there and it'll pop it up. And you will see how that works here in just a moment. So, let's get back out our card base. And we're also going to get our piece of white, which is 3 1/4 by 6 1/2, and it's scored at 2 3/4. So we're going to get this creased. And we're going to get out our tearing tape. We can find the beginning of the tearing tape. You could use the adhesive glue, but I kind of like using tearing tape because I can know exactly where it's going to go, and I don't get any on any of my other scored lines or anything, and they could be sticky. So that is why I'm using tearing tape for this part. Let me just trim this a little bit here because I went over. Okay, and then we're going to take one side, this side here, and we're going to take the paper off the tearing tape as soon as I find my Pick-a tool, which is right here. And we're going to line this right up in the middle, top to bottom, and right on this fold line like this. Then we're going to take this back and fold it back. And we're going to just hold this down for right now. And we're going to get it spaced top to bottom. And we're going to pull it out just so we can see the line there. And we're going to hold this here. And we're going to hold this down. Peel this up. Guess I didn't push that far enough. Okay. So, still looking good top and bottom. We're going to take this and fold it over. And we're going to be sure that that tape gets stuck. Then we're going to turn it over this way. And we're going to take our tear tape again. And we're going to put it here on this strip. And this strip down here. I think I probably cut this one. Nope. That's just a little bit long. Now I'm going to have tape on my scissors. That's okay. Okay, so we're going to take the backing off this. Oh, and I could tell that I did not angle this after the score line there, so I'm going to angle it now. Somehow I got the angle above the fold line. And then I'm going to fold this over. I guess I could see a little bit of that out, but that's okay because this back side is going to be glued down to some basic white. Take the paper off this side. And we're going to fold this over. Okay, now we have our whole mechanism. Let's see if it's going to work. Ha! It works. Finally, something on this video worked correctly. So now we're just going to start decorating. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of scrap here and I'm going to stamp the large Band-Aid in the hydrangea hue. I'm going to stamp it up here. I'm going to take it over to my cut and emboss machine and cut it out using this die. Okay, here we go. We're going to need this piece of scrap for another time. Now, can you tell that this looks shiny? Because I stamped the next stamp, which adds all the little dots on the Band-Aid, which is right here. And I did that with Versamark so that I could heat emboss it and make it be shiny. Like Band-Aids are usually kind of glossy. It's pretty easy to line this one up. It's just a very long, oblong shape. So I'm going to get that stamped in there. And then I'm going to get my tray. Now I have this clear embossing powder, this giant jar of it that I've had for, oh, I don't know, over 10 or 12 years. But I'm getting down to the end. And I'm going to sprinkle it on. it's amazing how little, even though I use embossing powder frequently, well, not real frequently, but some, it's still taking me forever to get through that jar of embossing powder. Now I'm going to pick this up, and I'm just going to shake off some excess, and I'm going to take it over, and I'll be right back after I heat it up with my tool. Okay, now we have it heated up. I used my tweezers that come with the tray and the embossing buddy, and you also get a little brush just to hold it so I didn't burn my fingers. We shall set this aside and I will put it away later. Next we're going to take one of our hearts and we're going to glue it to the middle. This is such a beautiful color, isn't it? I just love this color. I'm going to be sure that it's in the middle. Adding the embossing powder just makes it be like 2 or 3 shades darker. So now we're getting ready to change this into a spinner. So if you remember from my other videos when I did the Ferris wheel, and once I did it with the Sweet Bug set and made the bee look like she was flying around in circles, I'm going to get one of these little spinners out. I got these on Amazon, and I'm going to turn it so the large, there, I don't know if you could see, but one side is larger than the other side. So I put the top of the large side on the back of my Band-Aid and the small side down on my card. Then it came with these glue dots. So the one main thing you have to watch when you're using these is to be sure that your glue dot stays flat. Like, you know how sometimes when you try to pick glue dots off with your Pick-a tool, they kind of get folded up on themselves. If you do that, it's going to be kind of lumpy when it's spinning. So you want to try to get it as flat as you can. So I quit picking them off with my Pick-a tool, and I just lay the spinner on top of them here on the glue dot. And I'm going to get this. I could tear off some of that paper. Do my best to get this right in the middle of my Band-Aid, which I got it pretty good. And then next I'm going to take a glue dot. I'm going to tear off this extra paper so that it's easier. And I'm going to take the next glue dot line, and I'm going to put it on the back of this spinner. Carefully peel it off again. Oh, now I've stuck this Band-Aid. Be careful that you don't stick more than one glue dot on it. This glue dot does not want to come off. There it goes. And I have another perfect one right here, so I'm going to, I don't know if you can see that on the video, but there's another one right here because it's stuck to the second one in line, and I want to get that off so that it doesn't accident. Now see, I can't use that on the spinner thing because now it's curled itself up into a little bump, and then it will be crooked when it spins. So let's see how this works. We want to try to put it on here with the heart. Sorry, I have another glue dot on one of my fingers. Alright. So I want to put this in the middle with the heart the right way. I'm going to push it firmly in place, and then I'm going to try to spin it. And it spins perfect. So this part has worked correctly for us. So now let's get working on the inside. So now we're going to stamp, because it's much easier to stamp before we put this together. Well, I mean, we already have it together, but it's much easier to put it on to get it correctly with that mechanism. That's why you want to put this in first, and now you're going to decorate it. But I'm going to stamp it before I put it on, because that will be much easier than trying to stamp after you have it put together. So I'm going to need a white piece and a hydrangea hue piece, and they're 1/8 of an inch difference in them. I'm not sure why I have this piece. I know this was my messed up piece. I think I just got some extras in here. This is for the back. So I'm going to say this is the front. And on the front we're going to stamp, let's just check it out, ouch. So open up our stamp pad again. Notice how I put the label of my stamp pad here on the inside and on the outside on the lid. That way, because sometimes when they're open, it's hard to tell what color they are. So we're looking for the ouch. We're just going to kind of put it down here. And then I cut out some Band-Aids in Petal Pink. And again, I took my Versamark pad and I laid the Band-Aid on top of the Versamark pad, got it all covered with Versamark, put some clear embossing powder on it, heated it up, and I think this looks like a real Band-Aid. It's almost the perfect color because the embossing powder gets the Petal Pink just a little bit darker, and I think it looks pretty lifelike. So we are going to put this Band-Aid in here, on here. We're going to put some glue on the back. I saw Don Griffith do this card. I had already had the basic measurements from the other times I made the mechanism. I just had to kind of change their size a little. And now I'm going to add this to the front. Now, if you didn't want to do all these extra panels, you could have just gone ahead and stamped on this, on all these sides, before you put it together. And I'm going to slide this in. And I'm going to pop it all the way out so that I can see better how to put it on there. It's kind of hard to get this one on there. When I made the first one, I decorated it all before I put it together. So that is what I'm thinking, that probably would have been easier now that I'm trying to fit this on here after the fact. But we got it. And it pops open. So now we're going to do back here. And this one, let's see what we put on there. Feel Better Soon. So I have that already out here. Just going to kind of put it on there like that. I'm going to put 2 Band-Aids on this one. And when you cut this out, it puts all those little dots and everything and the little score lines in the middle. It all is inside the die, which makes it very nice. Then we're going to put another one on here. You can put as many Band-Aids or as few Band-Aids as you like. I cut out 5. And I also cut out 5 hearts. So we're going to put this right here. And I should have put a heart on the front one, but I forgot. But I won't forget to put one on here. Okay, then we're going to add this to our mat. It's going to be a few days before I get a chance to do another live video because I'm leaving to go to Indiana to see my granddaughter graduate from college. So I'm leaving tomorrow and I won't be back till Monday. I might be able to get back in time to maybe do one Monday night. But we shall see. But that's where I will be. Sometimes time just flies by, don't you think? I could just remember when she was 3 years old. When she was 6 or 7, she came and spent a week with us. We had so much fun. Alright, so now we're into the inside. The last, this one says Be Brave with some Band-Aids and a heart. So I have the Be Brave right here. We're going to stamp that in the middle. I forgot one thing you want to be sure, because you see how this sticks out here? I wanted to be sure that I put my Be Brave over far enough. I don't know if I did. I did. Okay. That's just one thing, because you don't want it hanging out over here. In fact, I'm just going to turn it over and stamp it again on the back more to the left side. Just to be safe. Okay. Then we need some Band-Aids. Like I said, you can use as many Band-Aids and hearts as you like. Got one more here. And we're going to put 2 hearts on this one. One up here. One down at the bottom. This does take a little while to put together because it's not hard. It just has a lot of little pieces. But I think it's the cutest card for somebody who, you know, is just not feeling well. Or maybe like a broken arm or getting your tonsils out, things like that. So we're going to get this on here. We're going to put some glue on the back. And we're going to glue it to the inside. And you know what? I think I did this It's alright. I did it sideways. I should have had it, I turned it the wrong way, but it's still going to work. I'll just have a little bit of white sticking out there. Let me get this back in. Very good. It snaps up there. Okay, so now I need to put, if I would have turned this the right way, this edge would have gone all the way over, but I did not. So I'm going to get my circle punch out here. Let me see which one. I'm going to use the inch punch. I'm going to cut out a circle. I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to add some glue to both sides. I'm sorry that my YouTube live didn't work. I'm going to, after I get finished with this in a little bit, I am going to try and just do a practice live. I didn't want to waste any more time trying to do this video on the live because I thought people might be trying to tune in. And all it was just saying was waiting. Okay, so let's pull this out. And it works perfect. Goes back in. Well, you have to push it back in straight. And then what I did, just to make it be a little bit firmer, is you could glue it to a whole back of a cardstock, which would be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But that left a lot of empty space on the sides. So I made this one be 4 1/2 by 4. And so we're just going to glue this down. That just makes it a little bit more sturdy. And I'm not even sure if this is going to fit in an envelope without having to pay extra money. I will have to let you know that when I take it to the post office. Because I'm not just going to put it in my mailbox with a stamp on it because it might not make it. So, we shall see. And if, I don't even know if this is going to be like too smashed down when it goes through the post office canceling machine and stuff. We will just use this Bobbi Blue one as a trial run. And then I will come back and let you know if it made it through the mail, if it didn't make it through the mail, if it cost extra postage, how much did it cost? Because you could always give these in person. There we go. So one more time, the flap works and the spin works. I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon, and I'll let you know if I can get YouTube Live to work for me. Have a great day. Happy stamping.